Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to more Auburn iRacing action. You join us from Sebring today as we've got the 100 Minutes of Florida on deck in the CIL Sportscar Challenge. Now, those of you who watched our race a few weeks ago at Barcelona will remember that Connor Burns took home the win in that one, and that's been a theme so far this year. Burns has won all three events in the GT3 category to this point, but Auburn's got some good drivers in it tonight, Keegan, led by the man on your screen right now in Pierce Hanley. Pierce, last time out at Barcelona, had a solid finish as well, came home with a podium, was one of the quicker cars all day long, so we'll see if he has anything for Connor today. James Bowman's also been very quick in practice and qualifying in the Ferrari, that Kentucky University liveried Ferrari, but we will be a little bit more focused on GT3s today, as that's where all of our Auburn drivers are running. Your other two Tigers in the race today are Logan Smith, who will be in the number 34 BMW, and then Nathan Roth, who will be in the number 91 Corvette. You see Nathan on your screen right now. So 3 Auburn drivers today, one less than we're used to with the Cup action, Keegan. But the good thing about sports car racing is there's so many things to look at all the time with all the different turns. Sebring, obviously one of the most historic tracks in not just North America, but the world. So I'm very excited to see what the boys can do today.
Yeah, we'll get a good gauge about the spectrum with just our 3 drivers here at Auburn, with Pierce being one of the top guys week in and week out, and almost a veteran in the sport, and then Logan making his first appearance this year in the CIL Sports Car. So interested to see what he can do. And Nathan's also there as well. But if you're a CIL fan, I mean, they chose some tracks with some character this week. I mean, we just left Darlington for the oval side, and now we're at Sebring. So I mean, these are 2 character heavy, worn out, just grind the track out race days, and that's always exciting.
Yeah, I was doing some Sebring driving yesterday, Keegan, in Corvette on the iRacing sim, and listen, sunset in turn 1. If you ever watched a Sebring race, you know it is so bumpy through both of those corners. You just got to be really careful on it. Cold tires, I think, are going to be huge today. We do expect 1 tire change today in this race, so coming back out on the track with those cold tires, making sure you can really handle everything and know what you're doing. It's going to be difficult today. But Sebring, obviously, extremely famous track, but as you mentioned, you have to be careful. You see that Mustang having an adventure in the background on your screen right now, but GTPs, I think, are even more difficult to race here because of how stiff these cars are. They're faster, but at least in my experience, Keegan, you have a little bit smaller margin for error, and then obviously you have to contend with traffic as well.
Yeah, and this track almost plays mind games with you. I mean, it looks like you have more running room than you actually do. Like you can, there's the track limits, we talk about that a lot, especially in Formula. Well, that's not really the issue here, but you kind of go away from the traditional track limits and it just tightens right up before a corner is on you. So you've really got to like gauge your moves, especially trying to get around these GTP cars if you're in a GTP, and really be smart about when and where you strike and get around this traffic.
Yeah, it's especially bad, Keegan, at Le Mans. Coming off Le Mans, getting ready for the Ullman straight down towards Sunset right there. That corner feels like it closes on you. It's a little bit off camber as you come around there. You have to really swing wide into what feels like no man's land before the entrance. It's a difficult corner. Getting the exit right to Tower Turn going to be critical today, too, to set you up for Bishop down in towards Le Mans today. It just, like any good racetrack, every corner at Sebring sets you up for the next part of the track, and you have to be good everywhere to be successful. No turns off here.
Yeah, it's all about hitting your marks. And if you watched any of our broadcasts recently, our favorite phrase has been in the wall, in the wall, in the wall. This week or today, it's going to be in the grass, in the dirt, in the dirt, in the grass, off the curb, and things like that. But I'm just excited and ready to go. We got 12 hours of Sebring this weekend, so this is kind of a preparation for all these guys. So they're kind of using this as practice, trying to ink out as much kind of grit as they can. But it's going to be a fun one.
Yes, we'll have 2 Auburn teams in that race, in the Mercedes AMG and then the BMW GT3 later this weekend. We'll be back on the call for that. But we had 100 minutes here at Sebring today before we get into the 12 hours later this weekend. So don't feel like you're shortchanged on time today, everyone. We got the full event coming up in just a couple days as we hit the 2-minute grid sequence here at Sebring. And Keegan, what I'm excited to watch today, we mentioned it briefly at the top, but notice who's not on pole right now. It's Connor Burns. He's in second. Good qualifying lap from James Bowman. Pierce Hanley, the Auburn boy, starting third. So I would love to see a good fight from this entire top three today. You see Nathan Roth coming in and starting in 12th, and I believe Logan Smith qualified right behind him in 13th.
Yeah, I mean, really not a whole lot of parity as far as the times, especially in this top three. Connor Burns right on Bowman's tail and Hanley right behind them. So it's going to be a race of can Bowman keep Burns behind him? And if he can't and Burns gets out to an early lead, can someone run him down, or will it be his race kind of to control like we've seen the last few weeks?
Well, you see that BMW behind the pink and white Porsche there. That is Logan. I know if you turned into Barcelona, you didn't see him in that race, but he's here for his first race of the season tonight. Nathan right next to him in that Corvette, and then Pierce will be in the Aston Martin today, a beautiful metallic bronze and blue Aston Martin that's up in third. You see him right there, second in line in his lane in this GT3 field. And we saw James Bowman almost come away with the CIL Cup win earlier this week, so we'll see if he can get it done today at Sebring. But let's not shortchange this GTP field as we get going on the warm-up lap. It's Jonathan Ocasio on pole in his BMW, Jake Cummings, who's had a rough couple weeks of CIL Cup action. We'll see if endurance is a bit kinder to him today. And then Alexander Papadimitriou is lining up third today. Nathaniel Fryman will be in fourth. Then Christian Hill in fifth. Thomas Crump in sixth. And then Brandon William will roll off seventh. A little bit bigger of a GTP field today. And then Crump was your winner last time out in GTP at Barcelona. So starting a little bit further back in the field today in sixth. And these are two very different tracks. Barcelona, very smooth. You have some space to work with. Here, you have a lot of grass to work with, as you mentioned, and one of the bumpier tracks you will find in motorsports. So different track characteristics having to adjust. We'll see how this GTP field works out today.
Yeah, in our last camera shot, when we were kind of doing like a helicopter shot, just looking down on these cars, it really gave you an example of how this track kind of tricks you, how it widens up and it gets really tight. Watching the corners, it's almost choked for air, right? It just gets really tight and then widens up a little bit on the straightaways, then tightens right back up really quickly. And it looks quick for us, but it's even quicker behind the wheel for these guys driving.
It absolutely is. And so many of these corners, too, are late apexes to get right. It feels like, oh, I want to go in, I want to take the turn in now, and then you just choke yourself off. As you mentioned, these X's tighten. Like, for instance, you see it right there out of the hairpin, that slight kink back as you head down onto this straightaway. So it's just a difficult thing to work with a lot of the time. I'm curious to see if we get a clean start. I know sometimes the close quarters, especially here at Sebring, because that's the thing too, not every corner is that tight, because built on an abandoned airway here, former airport runway, and so Sunset and Turn 1 are both extremely wide sweeping corners despite their bumpy nature. So you can have guys fan out. We saw, I believe it was 7 wide in IMSA, 6 wide maybe. Everyone and their brother was all over the place into Turn 1. So people can definitely go crazy there at times. We'll see if these guys can keep it calm as we get ready for the start of this one. You see your GTP field heading down toward Mama right now. Let's join them as they get ready to go through the second to last corner. On board with your pole sitter, Jonathan Ocasio, right behind this lovely Porsche pace car today. We'll take the green with GTP as they hit Turn 1, and then we'll jump back to follow Pierce as he tries to get off the line from third in this GT3 field today. Keegan, I'm excited for this. 100 minutes of Sebring. Keegan, I'm not a math guy. I believe that's an hour and 40 minutes.
Yes, it is. You were correct on that one.
Well, journalism major, maybe a little bit of math. That's my math quota for the day. I'm done. If you ask me for fuel stuff, I will be completely useless as we get on this broadcast, getting ready to go. I'm so excited. This is my first opportunity to call a race, virtual or not, at Sebring, one of my favorite tracks. So excited to watch this. Pace car getting ready to peel off, or excuse me, the safety car now in the sports car series. Safety car getting ready to peel off. Ocasio is going to lead him to green as we head under this bridge towards the start-finish line. Ocasio waiting, and we're a go here at Sebring for the 100 minutes of Florida. Ocasio going to keep the lead into Turn 1. Let's jump back to the GT3s as Ocasio is out front. Here we are getting ready to start as they come around Sunset. There's Pierce just behind Bowman, getting ready to go. I'm so curious to see what line these guys choose through Turn 1. It feels like you have a lot of options. It's not as many as you'd think. As we're underway, Pierce immediately having the block, did not get the best start off the line. Under attack from Andrew Gross to the BMW. Pierce going to defend towards the middle. He's 3 wide right now. Difficult spot. Is that a bit of contact with the BMW? I think so, but they kept it clean. Here we come towards really the heart of the lap right here. These next couple corners before the hairpin. You got to be strong through here. It's tight back and forth as we follow along in the great chopper cam here with Pierce. Following around that corner is another one where the radius really tightens. As we've settled down a bit at the front now. It's Bowman out front, half a second back to Burns, half a second to Pearson. Cold tires right now. This is where it's difficult. You got to adjust your braking points just a little bit in these corners as you really build up the temperature and get going. But there you see that tightening exit. It's so difficult to get right every single time. Got to make sure you don't get any track limit violations here. But Pierce is settled into third. We saw his long run pace be exceptional in Barcelona when we watched him, so we'll see how he gets along. But taking a look back at Logan Smith. Logan down 3 spots at the start, maybe a 4th as Kovacs looking for the move on him. Logan going to defend again, just trying to settle in. I don't hate the strategy at all of, hey, it's my first race of the season. I just don't want to run into anything on the first lap. Just keep it calm, and he's done that so far. The Aston looking for a move. Ooh, that was tight there for a moment as Philip Suich looked to the inside, and Smith going to have to hang on.
He's there on the inside. There's going to be outside for this next turn.
He stays inside here, heading down towards this Le Mans complex. And look at that, this corner is so difficult. It's also off camera. That's exactly really what you need to be careful of. See, you almost feel like you're in no man's land out there. You have to cut back in and really make sure you can pick up throttle cleanly, because the run down to Sunset, excuse me, it's a difficult corner, mostly one lane as far as your entry point goes, but people can fan out. So you need to be able to defend well as you head down towards Sunset, and Logan's going to keep it wide. That's the line you want to see. Maybe a little too wide out there mid-corner, as I was expecting the cutback, but left it wide, cooked it a little too much in there once we got to the center point, and he's going to get past. Suich and Zachary White both go by. Back up to Hanley, who's gotten by Connor Burns. I wonder if Burns had a moment, as so far he's been so indomitable this season, so difficult for anyone to get by him, but Pierce has done so, up into second place, just over a second back of James Bowman. Key, remember on Monday in our Cup race at Darlington, Bowman for most of the day had the fastest car, probably led the most laps in that race, trying to lead from the front. And again, Burns thinking about a move the hairpin, just showing Pierce that he's there, but we're going to stay single file as we head towards the heart of the lap.
Yeah, Pierce, you saw him under fire early in lap 1, turn 1 even, but he was able just to defend, drive with the mirror, got his starting position back in third, and then ran down Connor Burns and was down in front of him with Burns chasing behind. But he's got one job now, that's to run down Bowman. You don't want Bowman to get too far out front, but we all know that things are going to shake quickly when these GTP cars catch him in probably about 10 laps here or so.
Yeah, they're already about half the track ahead is the GTP field. But let's take a look back at Nathan Roth, see how Nathan's gone on after the start so far. This one, here he is in the Auburn liveried Corvette, down in 23rd, so a bit of a rough start for Nathan, but he has time. We saw him build back up through the field a little bit at Barcelona. I think you would expect a little bit more of the same here. Currently at the back of the GT3 field, unfortunately, but you know the best thing about going to the back early, Keegan, is you have the rest of the race to get back towards the front. We saw it on Monday in the Cup race. Aaron Brown started one lap down and then came back and won. So you never know what can happen at these places, and Nathan trying to move forward on Colin Bergerson in front of him, the Norwegian. One thing that I do like about this series is a lot of different nationalities represented. We have Norwegian, Colombian, Canadian, Hungarian all in this series. It's quite a nice, diverse league here in the CIL Sportscar Series, but I think is really representative of real life sports.
Yeah, this is what I was about to get into. It just mirrors real life motorsports, and that's kind of the beauty of motorsports as a whole. You think about sports like football, the NFL, or college football. It's mostly dominated by just, the United States and American citizens.
As we got a run here for Nathan on the outside. He's going to go by Bergerson, who had a bit of a rough exit off of Sunset. Clean entry into turn 1 for Nathan. He's going to keep it clean on the exit, ride that curb with the right side tires and be up into 22nd. So the march forward starts now for Nathan Roth as we got more slow cars in front of him, closing up quickly to Cade Corbin in the McLaren. Corbin's off wide. Here goes Nathan off to the left side. He's going to go through. Bergerson's going to have a little bit of a run on him down towards the hairpin. So I don't think it's to the point where Nathan needs to be defensive here, but just make sure you're strong onto your braking point. Don't be too timid here. You should be okay as Bergerson sticks his nose out there thinking about it. Again, just letting Nathan know that he's there, trying to put him off his game. But Nathan holds on to the spot, going to continue to work forward as he's got Nicholas Garcia and Evan West both in front of him, possibly from taking the next couple laps. Keegan, I was able to do a little bit of testing here at Sebring last night with Nathan, was in the same session with him, and I will say he seemed to consistently get stronger the longer those runs went on. So now we'll jump back up to Logan Smith, who's in 18th. He's lost a couple more positions here at the start, now trailing Chase Gerard and a fellow BMW, but Logan as well, we mentioned it's his first race, just some time to get reacclimated with how this specific car drives in the circuit. You do get practice time here at Sebring, but obviously normally you do multiple test sessions and really dial in the setup. Hasn't quite had the chance to do that. It's been focused on getting ready for the other Sebring race on Saturday with a little bit of a different approach. Obviously you have to get the setup that multiple drivers are happy with to work with. So Logan trying to dial in his own stuff, get into his own rhythm here and in this race. Going through Sunset again this time. That's really where you want to be, under the bridge in the middle of the track right there. Pick up, throttle off. You get a little bit of banking almost if you get too close to that wall out there, but it does set you up nicely for the run down to turn 1. And even though this is a difficult place on the track to make a move in, if you can stay close here, this next section is great to be on the back of a car to try to get a move. You have a couple tight corners. You see the first right here, this tight left-hander, then followed by the quick right. Then you have a second left-hander that really chokes you on the exit here. You see that tight curve coming up, and if you can get the run out of here under that Mission Bridge down towards the hairpin, probably the best passing zone on this track.
Yeah, you mentioned setting up the car in front of you earlier at the top of the show, and this track really is about that. Almost more than passing, it's more about setting up your pass. It's about setting your own car up, but also the car in front of you, the turn before, so you can make a pass in what's a better passing zone. Because there's a lot of corners on this track. You're not going to be able to pass cleanly on all of them. But if you can place your car in the perfect spot and set up the guy in front of you, that makes the next 2 corners or 1 corner even better for passing.
Yeah, through Cunningham right now. You saw a little bit wide there from the car that was in front of Logan's. We'll take a look at the battle for the lead right now. Jake Cummings closing in on Jonathan Ocasio. We talked at the top of the show for a minute about how it's been a rough couple weeks in the Cup Series for Jake Cummings. He's had some bad luck, dropped down from where he was 3rd in the point standings, and now trying to rebound with a good run today, trying to close in on Ocasio for the lead. And Keegan, I love watching these GTP cars at Sebring, just the absolute speed. You mentioned how quick it feels in the car. Well, it still absolutely looks quick out here. As you see little mini sector times, or sector times, 7 sectors here at Sebring on your screen there in the bottom right corner. That'll give you a bit of information on Ocasio versus Cummings. If it's a green sector, Ocasio is faster than Jake in that section, and if it's a red sector, Jake is closing in. So you see a lot of red sectors. This number 95 closing in on Ocasio. Are we going to see him moving to Sunset here? I don't think Jake quite got the run off that corner he would have wanted to make it happen.
Yeah, it looks like he's got just a little bit more momentum on this straightaway, but Ocasio, I mean, I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to keep Cummins behind him. I mean, Cummins just sucked right up to his bumper. I mean, we saw it just in the time we've been watching. I think Cummings has a really strong chance in the next 2 laps to get around him. I mean, he looks way better in the second half of this track. You can see the times below, but Cummins coming in quick to take Ocasio's #1 spot.
Well, the thing about Sebring, too, is, Keegan, you can be very much faster than the guy in front of you and not be able to pass.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult track to pass because of how narrow it is. There's not a lot of really big braking zones here at Sebring into tight corners where you normally would like to make those dives or moves. And then additionally, they're starting to get close to the back of the GT3 field.
I was about to say, if you're watching, you can see our track map. It's almost scripted. It's almost too perfect that as soon as Cummings is close to Ocasio, they're about to run into traffic and shake this whole battle right upside down. So that's just going to make things more interesting. But honestly,
a little bit wide there from Cummings at the hairpin.
I had to get off the throttle sooner and get back on it. But I mean, Ocasio under pressure last lap has kind of pulled away this lap.
Yeah, you see a lot of green sectors right now for that number 35 out front as they close in on the back of the GT3 field. And it's so difficult because the main thing you want if you're a GTP driver is for the cars in front of you to be predictable. You don't want guys trying to dive back and forth, go for moves. We saw that end in a crash in Barcelona a couple weeks ago as the GTPs closed in. You see, difficult part to catch here, but cleanly around the second part of Bishop Bend there. See the BMW staying wide, letting the GTPs by, and that's really what you need to be doing is we stay focused on these two. Cade Corbin now getting out of the way of Ocasio and Cummings, and this is where it's really key to make sure you can get through cleaner than the guy behind you, because it doesn't matter if you have maybe a tenth or two in pace on an open track compared to who you're racing. If you're slower and you catch lap cars in the wrong spots, it's very difficult. As we now look at Logan Smith down the front stretch, Smith right behind Chase Girard right now, still in the 17th position. I believe that was Nathan on pit road though. There, let's stay with this actually. Logan looking for a move on the inside. He closed up quicker than I expected there. I thought we were going to jump back to the pits, but look at the move from Logan as the BMW in front of him is going to basically get out of the way there. Had a big moment, and Logan goes by up in 16th. Let's check back in with Nathan now, as we'll stay here to watch the GTP field closing in on Logan down into the hairpin. You see, that's what you need to do is stay wide. But was that going to open the door for the other BMW and Girard? It did. That's what's so difficult about racing in GT3s is if the GTPs catch you in the wrong spot, you are obligated to get out of the way, and sometimes that really affects you in a bad ways. Let's stay with these two. This is really the difficult part of the track to pass. It's so narrow, so tight. You see more GTPs behind Logan still through here, coming through Collier down towards Tower right now. Into Tower they go. Logan trying to stay out of his way. Got the Cadillac behind him as well. There's so much traffic in this part. Ooh, I thought Crump was about to run in the back of that Mustang there of Nicholas Garcia, but Logan still doing a good job to stay out of the way, just staying on his line, and that's the main thing, is just hold your line. Don't be unpredictable, and Logan's done a good job not to do that through here. Going into Le Mans now, is obviously you never want to lose the position. Ended up losing one to Kovac as well in that exchange heading out of Tower, but I still overall just decent job of at least being predictable for the GTP field, and maybe you can run back down these two guys.
Well, you mentioned being obligated to get out of these guys' way, and you saw it cost Smith a position there. And I mean, we've seen it in the CIL and real life. You're only as obligated as you allow yourself to be. I mean, yes, traditionally you want to get out of their way, but if you're in the middle of a battle, which for 16th, 17th, that's not really a battle that you're really going to die on that hill for. But these guys in the top 3, top 5, you're going to see them be more stubborn to, if they're in a battle, to not move out of these guys' way and, continue racing their battle, but trying to kind of balance the, all right, we can let you by in this corner, but we're still fighting for positions up here too.
Well, what you also don't want to do is get protested by a GTP driver who you cost 2 or 3 seconds, which you're not supposed to be doing. But taking a look at Pierce now back in second. He's had about a 1.5 second gap over Connor Burns behind him for a lot of this race. You've seen it as high as, I think, 2.1 earlier. It's now down to 1.4 as Burns closing back in. But we haven't seen the usual impenetrable pace from that ETSU Lamborghini today. It's been James Bowman, who honestly has a reservation at Gapplebee's right now. 4.4 seconds now out in front in the lead. But Pierce, just like we saw at Barcelona, running a comfortable P2.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned James Bowman. It's 4.4 seconds right now. That's just slowly creeped to a larger gap. I mean, at this point, if you're Pierce, you may be thinking about switching up. Every driver into here comes in this race with a strategy. But, I mean, at some point, when do you think, okay, what can we do to get the upper hand on James Bowman?
Well, we were expecting a 2-stop today, Keegan, for most of the field. And what I also heard was probably 1 tire change from our Auburn engineering crew, who, reminder, for those of you who don't know, we do have Auburn engineering students that control the engineering and kind of pit crew race engineer decisions for these guys. So shout out to those guys doing their work every single race. I don't think they get quite enough love for what they do, but they've been really good at it. You saw it at Barcelona when Pierce got pitted. It helped him out a little bit with where they put him back out there. But the Auburn engineers for today, they did expect a 2-stop race, but only 1 tire change today here at Sebring. GTP's now closing in at the top of the GT3 field. You see your track map there. The orange dot is the car that we're focused on right now in Pierce. So you see headed down towards the hairpin, and then every yellow dot you see on that track map is a GTP. So we're able to keep track of where the GTP cars are at all times in relation to our GT3s. Is, ooh, that's tight with Connor Burns there off the corner. I think Burns almost got run into the back of by the GTPs. It's the battle for the lead still. Ocasio and Cummings closing in on the back of Pierce as they head through Cunningham right now, then up through Collier into Tower. This is a difficult part to have to let someone by. You really need to just try to stay wide and stay out of the way right here. If you're Pierce, he's going to stay to the outside and keep it right on the edge of that. GTP is going to get pushed wide.
Yep.
GTP is going to shove him wide there. Ocasio did. Ocasio is going to be crossed back over by Cummings. We're going to have side-by-side for the lead, and GTP maybe, no, they're going to iron it out. They're going to stay nose to tail here through this little complex and in towards Le Mans, but you see now Connor Burns is all over the back of Pierce Hanley heading through Le Mans as well, and that's just a difficult spot to where you're trying to get out of the way. But GTP, honestly, he was inside of Pierce. They were side by side, Ocasio and Pierce were, and I think that I don't know that I would put that on Pierce, Keegan. It looked like GTP just ran the corner a little bit too wide. You gotta, even in a GTP, you still just can't run other drivers out of room.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned I thought Pierce was going to play a huge role in the battle for the lead, and he did, but it also is playing a role in his battle now. As you see, Burns is caught right back up to him, but Pierce seems to have the pace on Burns all day, and it's paying off again here as he seems to be eking out a little bit of a gap, but with more of these GTP cars coming through, as you see him go around right here, oh, it looks like Pierce might have cut him off a little bit on the inside there.
Well, I'd be frustrated too after that last incident, but here you see him staying out of the way into the brake zone. GTP field will all go by. That's an okay place to get through, although you'd like to have it before this corner, and was just able to get back down into the racing line in time, as ideally you want to be caught right here, where they can just fly by with the extra horsepower in those GTP machines. But Pierce still hanging out in front of Connor Burns, and I think that was a great spot for him to get caught by Crump, because Burns, I think, otherwise would have looked to dive to the inside there maybe. So the GTP on the inside possibly protecting from that move, as Hanley's still trying to hold on to P2, but you've seen the time difference now, 7.3 seconds. They've lost about 3 seconds to James Bowman out front with all of those incidents with the front of the GTP field, and that's going to happen multiple times today. You're going to have to be on your toes.
Yeah, well, with Pierce and Connor battling, Bowman gets the excuse of not having to battle anybody and just kind of just being able to let these GTP cars go by without any consequence, because he doesn't have to worry about a car behind him. He can kind of just race his own race and go wherever he wants on the track. Whereas if Pierce just lets these guys by and goes wide, well, Connor Burns is right there to take a position from you.
Yeah, exactly. You see the GTP field on your track map has caught Bowman right now. They're going around him, but Pierce still trying to defend through Le Mans. There's a GTP off beside Pierce and Connor Burns here, as Burns is going to try to close in towards Sunset again. And this is where it's so difficult to be trailing a car here at Sebring. And oh, this is going to be slightly awkward into the entry of Sunset. No, GTP gets by cleanly. The closing speed of those guys every time is always astounding, as the GTP has gone wide again, and Pierce and Burns might go right back through on him. GTP to the outside, and it's going to be slightly awkward, but it stays clean. I was worried about maybe the extra speed of the GTP on the crossover clipping the back of that number 33 Aston, but we stay clean, we stay green. Hour and 20 minutes to go now, first 20 minutes done, as now you're starting to wonder, when do you maybe start thinking about that first pit stop?
Well, we're currently 10 laps in. It's giving us around 49 laps right now as we speak. So maybe a little early, but I think at this point the engineers are starting to think about either writing out the strategy they have or changing their strategy up. And if they write out the strategy they have, probably at about anywhere from 10 to 15 laps, we'll see the first few guys come in. And then, if you want to ride it long, if you want to split it in half, obviously that's around lap 25. Most guys would probably try and come in early, try to get the undercut. And then obviously sometimes you'll have a few just try and eke out those tires as long as possible and then get a quick run pace at the end with around 10 to 15 laps to go on fresher tires.
Yeah, I would guess we're about halfway towards that first pit stop right now. And so that begs the question, how's your fuel saving going? Because the more fuel you can save, the more it's going to benefit you down the road. As we take a look at Logan here, who's got back past Chase Girard and Arpad Kovac, back up in the 16th. Now trying to chase down Matthew Monroe in another BMW. But we mentioned at the top of the show, Logan, despite not being the most experienced GT3 driver, is far from a slouch in this environment. He absolutely has pace, so I'd be curious to see just how high he can get once he gets settled in.
Yeah, I mean, making his first start today, also racing this weekend as we mentioned. So using this as a little bit of practice, but also just trying to make his case and prove like, hey, I can compete with these guys too. Like I'm not just gonna show up for and turn practice laps, Like I'm gonna come here and compete. And that's what we're seeing him doing. He's 15th right now, but I mean, making some ground on Monroe. So, I mean, a good strategy. We can find him in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely, and there's still so much time to go. It's not called an endurance race for no reason, Keegan. Still an hour and 19 minutes here at Sebring. As you're seeing, the time of day starting to turn a little bit, getting a little darker out here, a little more overcast. But it should be a great race all day long. I love endurance racing, Keegan, because I know we both primarily grew up on NASCAR, and the NASCAR races are typically 3 to 4 hours, depending on the day, and you have your stops and what. But with endurance racing, there's so much more of that give and take and the being able to pick your moment and that kind of strategy side of motorsport, not just from the pit wall, but in the cockpit as well, that I really appreciate watching.
Yeah, and I mean, you also mentioned like the weather change. That's a huge part, especially at Sebring in this Florida weather. Now we are at virtual Sebring, so they don't have to deal with the heat that the real Sebring has to deal with. But iRacing does have temperature built in with tire tracks and the surface level and things like that. So they will have to deal with this temperature change a little bit. Now the sun's always a big part of Sebring when they go there. I don't know how big of a factor that is as far as like a virtual Sebring being in your eyes. So that's a little plus for racing.
It does make a factor, Keegan. I was in a test session earlier today that I had sun in my eyes at Sebring, so it can be a little bit of an issue sometimes. Back with Pierce Hanley, still running second. Now 8 seconds behind James Bowman, who is well and truly driven to Ocala at this point. But Connor Burns still keeping Pierce honest here, and it's so difficult lap after lap. I think it's something that doesn't get enough appreciation in motorsport. It's the speed, obviously, that's the main thing. It's who's the fastest guy. But I think what doesn't get enough love sometimes, Keegan, is how consistent can you be? Because if you can go out here and run, let's see, they're running like 2:01s right now. If you can go run a 2-minute 0.9, you can do 2 minutes flat 0.9, but then your next lap's a 2:03.4, and you just don't have that consistency versus a guy that can click off for low 2:02s, high 2:01s every lap. That consistency is more valuable at the end of the day. It's going to help you in an event like this. And for both of these guys, it's so difficult because you're running within a second of each other, and it's, you know, if either one of you makes a mistake, it's going to take you laps to catch that back up. And still in the background, Evan Main's closing on him a little bit too. Main's cut that gap down from about 3.5 seconds to 2.8.
Yeah, it's consistency and tire savings. Those are the kind of two balancing acts you have to make behind the wheel. Like you don't want to go out, we see it all the time. Guys, the first 5 laps, maybe pass 6 to 7 cars just blowing through their tires, and they just slowly fall back through the field. That's not what you want to do. That doesn't help you out in the long run. So make sure you're getting those consistent lap times, but also at a rate where you can save your tires and have some life in them left to make some passes late in the race or late in a stint.
So take a look at the previous incident here. Jonathan Ocasio on pit road with the lights blinking a lap down. Wonder what happened to our former leader in GTP. Is he was in a battle with Jake Cummings earlier. As we're going to take a look at the rewind here, see if we can find out what happened to the driver of the leading BMW. As we follow him back out of the pits. Is it just a long pit stop? I'm a little bit perplexed here for Ocasio. There's no visible damage on that number 35 machine.
Let's see. So far, so good.
Follow him down to Sunset, see if anything happens.
Yeah. No GT3 cars in the area to shake anything
go
up.
wide into the wall. No, keeps it clean. Interesting. Not quite sure what happened to Ocasio. He's back out. Okay, long pit stop, it appears, for the number 35. Just in the pits for a little bit longer than we necessarily expected. But he's back out there. He's back going, good to go. We'll just have to follow his progress as we keep going. But what that's done is set Jake Cummings free. You see he's flying out there 7.3 seconds back to Christian Hill. And this is the kind of day he wanted. Just clean out in front, relaxed driving.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we mentioned with Bowman and how that allowed him to kind of, you not worry about the GTP cars getting by. Well, the same thing for Cummings now. He doesn't have to worry extra hard about getting around these GT3 cars. He's got a little bit more breathing room, can relax a little bit. And when you mention logging consistent lap times, Well, being calm behind the wheel is the perfect environment for that. If you're under pressure constantly, you're going to make a mistake. If you're looking in your mirror and you're not looking in front of you, you're more liable to make a mistake. Cummins doesn't have to look in his mirror a whole lot right now.
Yeah, all on his own. As we take a look at Pierce Hanley, who's in second right now, who is a guy who's having to look in his mirror, Keegan. Burns is a little bit over a second back now, so some good pace from Pierce in his last couple laps, but Evan Main is still closing on both of them. Now just 2.1 back is that McLaren, so we could see a three-way battle for the final 2 podium spots here over the next few laps. And what I think is so key at this point is this is where the engineers make their money, if they made money, Keegan. Well, maybe they're on scholarship, maybe they're making money that way, but we have our engineering group who, this is where it's so key to find out where you can put these guys back out in traffic. Because even if you get through pit road well, everything goes cleanly, you get a good entry, good exit, if you're pitted back into GTP traffic or even GT3 traffic, suddenly you're just going to be hemorrhaging time.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys, you know, right now, as we're sitting here just talking about the race, they don't even get to watch the race. They have a calculator, pencil, pen and paper, whatever, and they're just doing lap times, calculating, making sure that they get these guys out in the most opportune times. And at this point, I mean, there's so much information technology out there. They do a really good job of putting their driver in the best situation possible.
Yeah, it's almost down to a science for these guys right now. Do want to briefly mention we have lost one of our 3 Auburn drivers in this one. Nathan Roth in the number 91 Corvette had an incident earlier. We were not able to get a view of it, unfortunately, because it was in the middle of battling for the lead, and we didn't catch it until we saw that 91 on pit road. But Roth is out of the race, so disappointing for Nathan today. I know we had a decent run at Barcelona last time out. Not the way you want to end the day at Sebring, but still 2 cars in the race for Auburn. First of them being Pierce. You see him still running in second, where he has been a lot of the day, letting a GTP by right now. And then Logan Smith, your other driver in the number 34 BMW, trying to move back forward. He's on the back of Hunter Wise right now, trying to make a move up for 13th. He's been pretty steadily gaining positions, has Logan, since about 10 minutes ago, I'd say. Really been on the march forward, now trying to line up this Porsche here. That'll help him out. GTP to the inside, but he overcooked it slightly, gonna go for the late apex. Try to come back out into this next left-hander. This is a really difficult corner. You see it tightens up there as now the run down towards the hairpin. He's gonna lose a little bit of time to this Porsche. Porsche does have good traction off the corner, that 911 or whatever model they're running now. I just reflexively said 911, but it could be the RSR now, as Logan looking on the back of the Porsche right now. There's a Mustang sideways. We've seen a couple incidents from that Mustang in practice today, but he is sideways off the grass. Here comes Logan down on this Porsche, trying to make a move to the inside. He goes, trying to make the move on Hunter Weiss. He's gonna get him. It's difficult to stay side by side through that corner. You lose so much real estate and momentum trying to hang out on the outside as now we head towards Tower. But yeah, Cunningham, really a 1-lane corner, and if you're not in that 1 lane, it's difficult to hang on, as Weiss going to slide back in behind Logan, who now has 1.9 seconds up the road to get to Matthew Monroe and that other BMW who we saw him chasing earlier. But Weiss starting to fall backward a little bit, now back into 13th, but trying to stay on Logan here. You saw him a little bit narrow into the corner before Lamar here. Later exit a little bit wide for Logan through there. You really want to try to clip that curb as you go through, but that corner is so awkward. It's almost off camber. It's extremely difficult, frankly, when driving. It's my least favorite corner on the track, Keegan, but now towards one of the best in motorsports. Sunset corner here. Deep drive in from Weiss in the Porsche. Logan trying to block, trying to hang on. Here comes GTP traffic. Jake Cummings all by himself. Now you got about 9 seconds down the road before the rest of this GTP field starts to catch. So now you know that in your brain. You know I have GTP traffic coming up. So you really have to keep being careful through this part of the section of the track. More your technical side as we go through here from about turn 3 all the way up to Tower. That's where you have to be really extremely careful placing the car. There's a lot of, we've talked about these tightening apexes a lot today. This is really the part of the track where you have to make sure your lines are really set and you can't be too eager on throttle.
Yeah, and you got about a half a second gap with the car behind you and probably another 4 to 5 seconds before these GTP cars get to the back of them. So you really want to try and push as much as possible. But he's going to get held up by the BMW in front of him, which they have very steadily caught here. 2 seconds, but it'll get way closer than that once these GTP cars start coming through and slicing through the field.
Yeah.
This whole 4-car battle become under blanket like nothing.
Yeah, down to about a second now for Logan. You see that 1 second interval of the car in front of Matthew Monroe and the other BMW. 3 BMWs followed by 2 Porsches right now from 10th down to 14th. This entire group is all fairly close on track right now, trying to accordion together. Logan trying to push forward, and I think Weiss and Kovac are trying to maybe attach a rope to him and follow him through right now, keep up with that number 34 BMW, which has got some great pace right now.
Yes, they do. I mean, here we go. You can see him on the TV cams, and GTP cars stalking their prey, getting ready to pounce and make moves.
He might get caught down the straight. That would be perfect for him. They might be a little bit too far back, but we've underestimated the closing speed before. There you see difficult 3 wide. Here comes the GTP. They're headed towards Sunset. I think he'll get him before Sunset, and he will, but we still have Crump back there as well, as that is Christian Hill and Thomas Crump, second and third in GTP right now. Here's Crump closing on Logan. This is a bit of an awkward spot to catch sometimes. You see nice turn to the inside from the Clemson GTP driver. He'll go by Logan cleanly. I think if you're Logan, it was pretty easy GTP traffic experience.
Yeah, the best place to get past is one where you don't have to turn and get out of the way, and that's a straightaway. Just let the horsepower and speed of those GTP cars blow right by you, and it worked out pretty well for him. Now, obviously, there's more to come, and
yeah,
I mean,
this Cadillac might get a bit awkward unless he gets caught on the run through Gurney down towards the hairpin. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It's a little bit wide from Monroe in front of Logan Smith, but you're okay putting a couple tires over the edge there a few times. It's not going to hurt you too much. As here comes the GTP. You got to imagine the moves happening into the hairpin here. Ooh, thought better of it. Yeah. Laid off. I was expecting a little bit more from this Cadillac here, but still right on the back of Logan Smith, and now going to drive through. That's an okay place to catch to. You're full throttle through there. You're not losing time as they head towards Cunningham now. This is where we saw, or excuse me, that was in Tower, the incident with Pierce earlier, but it's so difficult to work through there with this traffic when it's so close together. Once again, we jump back up to second. It's Connor Burns behind Pierce Hanley, still about half a second in as we're getting closer and closer to pit stops. And now this is where you start thinking about, do we want to pit earlier? Do we want to pit later? What do we want to do with the car in front? Cover off the car behind? It's a real chess match for these engineers.
Yeah, and between Bowman, Hanley, and Burns, as soon as one of them make a decision to come down pit road, the other two, it's right then and there. You have to make your decision. Do we go now? Do we go later? I mean, once one of those guys pits, it pretty much forces the hand on these other guys to make a decision almost to the next lap.
Well, I tell you, a number I've had my eye on, Keegan, as I believe this is a Casio coming through on Connor Burns right now, is the gap to the leader. These guys have taken 2 seconds out of James Bowman in about the last 7 or 8 minutes of track time. So I don't know if Bowman had an awkward spot with a GTP car at one point, but it's 6.3 now, and we saw it as high as 8.2 earlier for James Bowman. So we'll see if maybe the closing speed starts. I know we mentioned there would be 1 tire change today. Do you think there's a possibility that Bowman may have burned his up a little too much? Because if he's taking tires on his first stop, can you afford to use a little bit more?
Well, I've looked the last lap and so far this lap. If you look at the telemetry in the bottom right, it seems like it. I mean, just Pierce Hanley's turning faster laps, and Burns was right behind him. You got to expect he's turning faster laps than Bowman as well right now.
Well, it is the green sector times you see are Hanley compared to Burns. The red sector's the top, I believe. Yeah, that's going to mean that Bowman's red to Hanley, correct?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, they are closing right now as we follow this beautiful little interface. Yeah, I like a battle box, Keegan. This is something I wish we got a little bit more realistic. Speaking of battle box, here comes Logan Smith on Matthew Monroe. 3 BMWs all heading in through sector number 2, or at least the middle part of the lap. I want to call it sector 2 so badly, but here comes Logan. No move into Cunningham you would expect, and there it is. But I like that exit from Logan Smith. Going to try to stay on the back of Monroe through here. I wouldn't expect a move into Tower, but I think if you stay close through Bishop, you could maybe think about something in there, as that's going to close up. Logan's going to have a great run out of Tower down towards Bishop. You see him moving left and then right. Going to try to set up Monroe or a move into this little complex here. Backs off earlier. Going to cut in. Try to get a tight line there. Cut this corner tight too. Now go wide for the entry into Le Mans. You have to really swing wide, cut back through. That should give him a good exit down towards Sunset. You see the speed for Logan Smith down towards the final corner of Sebring. You get a great draft down here too. Good slipstream down the back straightaway, Ullman straight as we head into Sunset. He's going to look to the inside, but that move is cut off as you see him slide a bit wide there, cut back inside, thinking about something down towards turn 1.
Should have the draft, should have a run. We've seen him kind of set him up, just be able to stay on his bump whenever he wants to. He's backed out of the corners, hasn't forced a move, but now he might be in perfect position.
Ooh, look at the turn with BMW.
Continue just to set him up. Now, this BMW will slow them both down, though.
Yeah, McKinnon right in front of Monroe and Smith. What do they do through here? Ooh, Monroe, big entry into that corner, closing up on McKinnon, but it's going to cost him on the exit. But you do have this second left-hander as you head out towards Gurney, as Monroe's going to be wide. Logan's going to have the outside through Gurney. It's going to be a battle of breaking points into the hairpin. Matthew Monroe on the inside, Logan Smith on the outside by the cones. They both get down into the corner. Do they keep it clean? They do, but this is where the outside really hurts you. You see where it tightens back there.
It's so hard to make a pass.
It's so difficult to stay too wide through that zone, as now you'd expect him to follow again as we go through Cunningham, Collier, and Tower.
And something worth noting for this battle is we've had our top GTP cars all pit. So now instead of having them having to run a whole another lap to catch these guys, they pit and allow these cars to get right past them. So these GTP cars are becoming way quicker than they were last time.
Yeah, it definitely will be a difference as Logan now into Tower. I love this corner, such a nice late apex. You pick up the throttle through, clip the curb there. It's a nice flat curb so your car doesn't really bounce over. You can stay settled. Now down into Bishop, right down here towards Lamar, and they're still nose to tail with these 3 BMWs right now. Logan trying to line it up again in Lamar. You see he takes that wider line again. He's going to cut in. Nice run over the curb. Good exit again for Logan out of this corner. I think he's quicker than the 2 in front of him right now.
I do too. He's unable to get past. Definitely smoother. Watching these 3 guys, you've seen Logan Smith take the smoothest kind of transitions and angles through these corners.
Is he again down to the inside? Wide from McKinnon. Logan's going to be inside of McKinnon. He's going to go by. McKinnon behind both Monroe and Smith now. Logan going to close on Monroe out of the corner. Do we see side by side into turn 1? Logan on the inside. That's going to be the left for the left-hander. You see him side by side right now in towards turn 1. Logan to the inside. Monroe trying to hang it around the outside. Monroe's going to hold on for now, but as we head into the heart of the track, down into turn number 3, what do we see from Logan? He's going to tuck in back behind. Do we see him try to set Monroe up into the hairpin for a second consecutive lap? Trying to get the better exit out of this corner right here as we head towards Gurney. Trying to stay on the back of Monroe. You see he's just a little bit too far back, I think, to make something happen to the hairpin unless he really gets a good run. You see right in the tire tracks that other BMW. Is he going to let him know he's there? He's going to stay in line, trying to keep his line as good as it can be. Maximize the track. Monroe goes wide. Logan, I thought he had a chance there, but Monroe slipped a little wide, was able to gather it back up and keep it on the racing line as Logan is still right behind him. Yeah, let's ride on board in through Cunningham and Collier right here. Cunningham first again, late apex, ride it out to this curb. Then you have a sharp cutback on the left. Another left-hander up through Collier, and now down towards Tower. It's a bit of an odd braking zone as you have to go right back to the outside, then late cut in over that curb, back ride the outside curb, and now flying down towards Bishop. You see Logan's lost a little bit of time, but here's where he's been faster. A lot of the most recent laps is through this complex and toward Lamar. Here on the right-hander, he has to let Jake Cummings by in the GTP, who is coming through, and now Cummings is going to catch Monroe on the straightaway. So I think it's going to cost Logan a little bit of time there, having to yield in the corner, but still only about 6/10 back at the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned in your practice session with Logan just his long run speed, and I think a lot of that is just his patience and ability to run smooth laps. We haven't really seen him dip a toe into the grass or dirt very often, or swing wide, or make a mistake really in any of these corners. Just very smooth, very methodical. Make sure he's hitting his mark. Ooh, a little wide there as I'm talking about how smooth he is.
Commentator's curse.
Exactly. But I mean, he's running. He hasn't pitted yet, but he's in a good position now. And a good strategy can put him in the top 10. Just smoothness and the long run speed, just because he's able to take care of those tires better than some of these other guys.
Yeah, you mentioned pit stops. We have seen 4 GT3s pit. Evan Main was the lead one that came down in his McLaren, and then Andrew Gross, Caleb Larson, Chase Girard also all have pitted. As we'll get back with Pierce, who's trying to lap Cade Corbin now. Been a bit of a rough day for the driver of that blue and white McLaren right there, but Pierce going to go through on the outside of Bishop, is down in towards Lamar. First the right-hander, then the left-hander, and now you swing wide and cut back in through Lamar, ride that curb, get over the exit curb, and really fire off down towards the straightaway as Burns got held up a bit there by Corbin coming out of that corner.
Yeah, Henley got a little help there, able to get a little bit of a gap, but I expect both of these guys, even Bowman, probably within the next 5 to make the turn down pit lane. Not a whole lot of cars, really only the top 7 GT3 cars that have the pit.
Oh, Pierce into the pits now. Hanley into the pits there. Mustang is sideways again as Pierce is going to duck down into pit road. Let's follow him down. Let's see if we get a tire change on this Auburn Aston Martin. As you see Bowman in as well. So your top 2 in GT3 both in. Take a look at it from our blimp view here. Pierce into the pits. I'm not seeing that car being jacked up on either side.
They jack up.
Did they air jack? Okay,
Yeah.
so we did get the air jacks. A little bit of Cup Series on the brain there with the side jacks, but we do get the air jacks. As waiting on Bowman to leave in front of us, you see through the windshield of Hanley, and this is where your refueling happens, and this is so crucial. How well did you save your fuel? As both guys did take tires. Off goes Bowman. You see him trying to warm up the tires a little bit. And let's go on board with Hanley as we exit the pits here, and you can get an experience of what it's like to drive Sebring on cold tires, because it is difficult. It's so flat, it's so bumpy. These tires don't want to grip as soon as you come out of the pits on them. It's an extremely difficult task. You have to adjust your braking points. You see off a little bit earlier there from Hanley down into this corner. Then you almost want to clip the curb there as you see him do. Then this second left-hander, this kind of first sector complex where it tightens back up on you. And now this is the corner that it's easy to get wrong as well on cold tires down into the hairpin. If you're used to really the grip you have, you might brake a bit too late. You see Pierce warming up the tires as he gets ready for the braking zone. He's going to cut back in there. Nicely done from Hanley. But you saw he still came out in 4th as Burns and Zachary White in the Ford, the last 2 GT3s to pit today. You see Bowman with the fastest lap there in 3rd. That's that purple stopwatch on your screen. But Hanley, you see Evan Main is closed in. And that's what I was wondering, Keegan, is how powerful would the undercut be? Well, Main got new tires as well, and is now on the back of Hanley. We saw him closing in, but we got a spin from James Bowman. Let's take a look at the Ferrari. Take a look at the Ferrari. You saw him off in the grass as we went by there, off into the wall. Let's take a look at it. You see going through Cunningham right here and trying to get through Collier. It's so easy to spin on cold tires. That's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
Cold tires through Collier. Put the power down a bit too hard, and your fastest GT3 all day now finds himself in the net 3rd. As we'll have to watch where Connor Burns comes out of the pits, but that means right now Pierce Hanley could be your net leader in GT3, but he's got Evan Main right behind him in that purple McLaren. This is going to be an interesting last hour, Keegan, as we look at Burns getting new tires. So we saw that car get jacked up. He'll get new tires that stay with Hanley down the front stretch as Main is closing in. You got to think that Pierce will get a little bit faster once his tires warm up and he can really get back into it. There's a Lamborghini.
Yep.
There
Burns
goes
came out
Burns. You
of
saw it in the front of your screen, but Main and Hanley are going to be coming with speed and with warmer tires. We'll see how that affects them as the GTP is going to come through right here. Bit of an awkward spot. Pierce trying to stay clear right here. And see already right onto the back of Burns. And watch the traction he's going to get out of this corner compared to that Lamborghini. The GTP is going to go by first. But does Hanley do a copycat move? He's going to have better brakes and better tires into this hairpin on the warmer tires. Burns defends the inside. Hanley going to go for the switchback. He is. Tighter exit. You see him wrap back around trying to get the run on this Lamborghini as they head up towards Cunningham, as we've seen from James Bowman just last lap. It's so difficult to put the power down cleanly in these corners as into Cunningham. Hanley going to be on the outside. Burns defends inside. Hanley gets bumped by Burns, but they keep it together. They both keep it on the track. Now through Collier. Is that going to set up Evan Main for a move? Main and Hanley now side by side, heading in towards Tower. Burns still in front. They're both going to close in on the Lamborghini through tower, side by side. Hanley hangs on the outside. Hanley gets bumped. Main gets into Hanley. Hanley trying to keep it straight on the grass, and he does. Main holds back on the right side. They're going to be side by side through Bishop, heading down towards Lamar. First right-hander, Main's going to have the advantage on the line. Hanley going to try to stay within more contact as they're still right with each other. Now through Lamar, Hanley trying to set back up for a good exit here, but man, that's going to be a frustrating sequence. Almost had the lead twice, got bumped a couple times, and now finds himself running third.
Yeah, we'll go back and take a look at this. That first bump just kind of pushes him wide into the dirt. See, this is what we talked about, the track just tightening up. You see it right here, side by side corner exit. Yep, and just barely gets into him. Nothing intentional there, but able to keep his pace, get the throttle down, back on track, and then gave him a little love tap, like hey, like we're doing this. This is how we're gonna race.
Well, we're back into turn one now as Hanley's right on the back of Main, and they can both see Burns. And I think both of them have had the pace on Connor Burns today because Main was closing on both of them as well. We'll see what happens as these tires continue to warm up. A reminder, James Bowman currently 10 seconds back of these guys. We saw him pull out 8 at the start as here goes Hanley on Main. Good dive down to the inside. It's going to be difficult, though, as we head through Gurney down towards the hairpin. Main's going to have the inside line. I would expect to see maybe another switchback attempt from the Auburn Aston here. You're looking for that first line. There it is. Breaking point. Pierce going to stay wide, trying to cut back inside on Main. You see the good running gets off the corner, but again, it just tightens up there. And big block from that purple McLaren is heading up through Fangio towards Cunningham. Pierce going to try to get to the inside, puts it on the inside, dives up the inside, and is he going to hold on to that place? It's not clear, not clear. Main over the inside curve. They're still side by side up through Collier. Burns getting away to a second now. Pierce still on the inside, trying to outbreak into Tower. He's got the move done. This time it looks like, yep, and Main into the dirt a bit there behind him. So Pierce Hanley back up into second place, about a full second now behind Connor Burns, but we've seen that Pierce can be faster than that Lamborghini today, so it's now about focusing forward, trying to chase him down.
Yeah, and if you're Connor Burns, you're the biggest Ava Man fan right now. You want him just to keep putting the pressure on Hanley, keep battling back and forth, keep racing side by side, just letting him get out to a bigger and bigger lead. But with Pierce now around Evan, I think his luck's run out, and it's time to run down Connor Burns. But that side-by-side racing also allowed Bowman to kind of get back on his feet, catch up a little bit.
Yeah, look at it on your screen right now. You see the last 3 sectors. Pierce Hanley has been faster than Evan Main, and 2 of the last 3 have been faster than Connor Burns. Most of the laps have been faster than Connor Burns. So you see him trying to close in right now, down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, already took off half a second just in the time he's been in front of Evan Main. And you expect that to continue. I mean, I think he's had the pace on him all day. He got by him early in the race. We saw that around lap 3, so I think Pearson, well, now when Pierce gets to Hanley, that allows Main to catch right back up. And we've seen him do that even before the last stint when they pit, when Burns and Hanley went side by side for a little bit. Main was right there.
Yeah, we've seen the pace from that car, but James Bowman has now cut down 2.1 seconds on these guys. That Ferrari's flying. You think maybe a little bit of red mist in the cockpit for James Bowman right now, trying to push his way back forward. It is still a very close battle between these top 3. We're going to keep the camera here, but just a quick update. Jake Cummings is now 14 seconds in front in GTP, so the overall leader is out to lunch right now off the front. But back to this battle for second. Pierce trying to set up Burns as we head through Collier again up towards Tower. Tight on that curb. This is my favorite braking zone on the entire track. You let it go wide, cut back in for this tight curb, and really put the power down off the corner when you get it right, Keegan. It feels so good through there, as Hanley did get it right that time. He's closing up to Burns, just 2 tenths now as we head through Bishop. You see all the green on your screen from Pierce Hanley right now is absolutely flying through Le Mans, trying to cut back to the inside. He knows he's faster than this Lamborghini, but can he get by? Down towards Sunset, going to have the run. Burns going defensive. Pierce going to stay in the slipstream. Where do they go as we get to Sunset? They're both still on the inside. Still on the inside, waiting for the braking zone. There goes the Aston back to the outside. Down into Sunset. Pierce going to stay wide. You got to expect the cutback. Looking for it, has to check up, gets cut off. Down in by that cone, and they're going to wash out wide. back on the front stretch. That's good defensive driving from Connor Burns. I think it's hard but fair. He's now down towards turn number 1. They're going to be tight with each other. Pierce still on the back of Connor Burns. They've distanced a little bit from Evan May. They got 7/10 now. Is back in towards turn number 2. You see this break is on. Pierce looking to the inside, going to poke his nose back in behind Burns now through turn number 3, up to turn 4. Trying to cut back onto the inside, clips the curb, over the outside curb, and now they're running down to the hairpin. We've seen, I think this is Burns' best part of the track today. He gets off that corner, and again, it's so hard to pick up the throttle following as you head down towards Gurney out of that tight corner, but this part of the track is where Pierce has been the quickest all day. Cunningham, Tower, Bishop, Lamar. That is his bread and butter today. As you see, 3/10 off the back of Burns. We'll see how close it gets. Let's ride on board with Pierce Hanley and see him try to chase down this Lamborghini. First, through Cunningham, you see still that tight line. Got to cut it back in on these curbs, still in the tire tracks. You're losing a bit of downforce from the car in front. Get the air on the inside and let him know you're there. Hang on the outside, cut over the curb, try to pick up power on the exit. You see he's closed in so much through just that complex of about 4 quarters, right on the back of the leading Lamborghini. Now through here, you want to get a little bit of air at the outside, cut back inside. It's a difficult off-camber corner. You're going to stay on the curb. Now wrap the curb again here, go out wide to the left, cut back on the inside, clip the curb, pick up power off the exit curb, and now the run towards sunset again. We saw Hanley go for a move last time. Is he thinking about it again down into sunset? Let's watch where the Aston goes. I think he might be a little bit too far back, but we've seen it from him before as he looks to the inside. Now he's going to break and wash out outside. Try again for this big cut back run on the exit sunset back to the start finish line. A good run off the corner from Burns as Hanley really using all the track out to the wall right there as we head back towards turn 1. Still close, 0.2 of a second, and it's now 2 full seconds from Pierce back to Evan Main. So these two have really put the hammer down at the front.
Yeah, I mean, you can see just in the lines, they're almost matching each other now for both in lap times and lines. But if you're Pierce, I mean, you know this is the battle for the lead right now. You don't worry about James Bowman catching back up. This is the battle for the lead, but you've got to be smart. You can't try and force a move and then force a mistake upon yourself and allow Evan Main to get right back up to this battle. You've got to stay patient and use the track and use your advantages to get around Connor Burns.
Pierce looking to the inside, then cuts back to the outside. I love that move of just sticking the nose out like, hi, I'm here. I think I'm faster than you. Does he have a chance here? No, again, it's so hard to go side by side up through here as you go through Fangio. It's a difficult move to try to make. There's not that much space. Now in towards Cunningham. Is he going to look for the move? He cuts back to the outside. And wide. Connor Burns goes wide. Pierce is through. Pierce Hanley into the lead. Auburn with a driver in the lead here at Sebring. Pierce Hanley got through. Connor Burns outbraked himself. Went wide in that Lamborghini, and that sends the Aston through to the front. Pierce Hanley now out front. Burns trying to push behind him. You see him into the dirt. We've seen this is where Pierce has been the fastest all day long down into this complex. Has extremely good car control through here to be able to keep it on these curves. Now he's in the lead. Burns wide again back there. Now cut out to the far side, back in over the exit curb, and you see now 4/10 already, almost half a second and half a lap for Pierce Hanley over Connor Burns, trying to break away now in the lead, and I think also trying to break away from a Ferrari in 4th. Someone play the Jaws theme. James Bowman is down to 4 seconds behind Evan Main. So that Ferrari is closing up right now to these guys in front, but I think the gap has stabilized a little bit from him to Hanley himself, as it's around 7 seconds still, despite Bowman owning the fastest lap from earlier. It's been better pace in the second stint so far from Hanley and Burns. Obviously, Bowman made the mistake. You wonder if there's damage on that Ferrari, what the situation is, but still good pace from Hanley out front right now, trying to hold on in front of Burns. We saw him keep Burns at about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds behind him for most of that first stint. We'll see if he pulls out the same gap again here now as we hit about 45 minutes to go here in the 100 minutes of Sebring. For those of you keeping track and can do math unlike me, that means we're past halfway as Hanley through the hairpin now. Going to keep that gap pretty consistent around the half-second mark, but it's been a great battle up front in GT3 all day, whether it be for second between these two or now for the lead between these two. Quite unlike your GTP field where Jake Cummings is 13 seconds out front right now.
Yeah, when Pierce got the lead, it was exactly what we were talking about. Stay patient, stay smart, and keep the pressure on Connor Burns and let the track make the mistake for you, and that's exactly what he did. And now we'll see what kind of pace he has to run away from Connor Burns. But yeah, as long as you stay patient, stay smart. And we saw Connor Burns, right, when he first got past, he wasn't being patient and smart. He was like, oh crap, I got past. I got to get by him back immediately. When he's got time, you can settle down a little bit. But he kind of forced the issue a little bit, made a little bit more mistakes even after getting past, and was out of MMA to catch right back up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got GTP and Jake Cummings coming through. I know the purple threw you off a little bit there, but we got the beautiful Cadillac GTP.
I was about to say, your name is some pace I haven't seen all day.
Going 170 down the straightaway. But yeah, it is the Cadillac GTP as he gets by Pierce on the straightaway. But now with an Auburn car in the lead, let's jump back and take a look at how Logan's doing right now. Down in 11th place, he's moved up yet again. You see that BMW of McKeon out in front of him, but he has gotten past Monroe, so still solid pace in this BMW for Logan Smith. He's worked his way forward ever since that start where he dropped down to, I believe it was 18th position, and he's now worked his way all the way back up to 11th. You got to think gunning for a top 10 today at least, Keegan.
Yeah, and we do expect another pit stop from these guys, a little splash and go. Maybe not tires, but definitely some fuel needed for the last 10 to 15 laps of this race. So that'll also shake up the field a little bit.
It definitely will. As we saw in front of Logan, there is a battle brewing. Let's take a look at the number 16 of Philip Sewick in I believe it's an Aston, in front of the BMW. BMW's number 53 of David McKeon. Those two battling right here. You see him off of Sunset, the final corner. And this battle, I think, is key for Logan right now. Because what he wants these two guys to do is start thinking about each other, start running different lines, running side by side, and pull him right to the back of him. As currently he's about 2.5 seconds back of these two. And if he can get them to start battling, you might see that close pretty quickly. As just a quick check on the gap, Pierce has established a 1.2 second gap to Burns, looking pretty comfortable as we stay with this battle here. McKeon looking for the move off of that corner, now down through Gurney, under the gantry, towards hairpin. We'll see if McKeon tries to poke his nose out. He is going to show the nose to the inside, cut that to the outside. Aston kind of middle in the nowhere for Sewich, not really picking the inside or the outside, but driven it a bit too deep. Did McKeon into that hairpin, but he's going to get a good exit because, again, that Aston was just sitting in the middle of the track. Not really a great line there. I don't think you need to go that defensive as we head towards Cunningham now. McKeon looking for the move. He's going to go to the inside, but as we've seen all day, it's so difficult. You really get choked off there as the Aston's going to stay on the outside now, and I think this will send McKeon through, and it should into Tower. There goes the BMW. And now you see Logan Smith from 2.5 to 1.3. That's what a little bit of battling does for you as he's closing in on these two in front of him. And they might not be done yet as we head down toward Le Mans. Look at the Aston going for it again. Back to the inside. McKeon went wide. He outbraked himself. They're back right the way they were before at the start of the lap with Sewick in front and McKeon behind. And Logan Smith under a second behind them. You mentioned it, Keegan. He's right there. He can see the pink rear of that BMW right in front of him now as two BMWs now looking to gang up on this Aston Martin out in front. And Keegan, I know that the GT3s, it's a very diverse field, but I have to say, personal preference, I think the new Aston Martin that Aston brought out with this Vantage looks exceptional compared to the old ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up a big movie guy watching James Bond, and it's just like watching, those cars you see in the movies on track. So, I mean, it's a little, sometimes you see cars on track that you wish you were in movies, but this one's kind of their version. It's like a James Bond car on track, so that's always fun to see.
Speaking of James Bond, no time to die right now for James Bowman trying to fight his way back forward, looking for a move on Evan Main up into Tower. He's going to stay right behind that purple McLaren as we move down towards Bishop. But Bowman, I think you would agree, Keegan, has been, once again, as we saw on Monday, maybe the fastest car in this field as he tries to close back in and going for the move into this right-hander. And now the left-hander back in towards Le Mans. I love that sweeping entry, or I love watching it. I hate driving. It's so difficult. It's off game. It's off camber, but Bowman might have a move into Sunset here as Main went wide. We'll see what the Ferrari does. Main disappears, iRacing moment there, as Bowman gonna look to the inside to Sunset, look into the braking zone. Bowman, I think, has got him.
Clear, yeah.
Yeah, unless there's a biblical switchback here from Evan Main. I think that is the Kentucky driver off there. It's the switchback. Main got him back. He went wide. He cut back inside. Still fighting. It's going to be difficult to hang, though, as Bowman's going to clear off the front now, and he's going to stay clear into turn number 1. As let's take a look back at Logan again, as he is 2/10 behind McKeon right now, right on the back of this BMW through Le Mans, trying his best, trying to set up a run to Sunset. I think this has been about Logan's best spot of the track all day today. Is off Le Mans, down towards Sunset. Looking to the inside now. You see that BMW looking to the inside. Number 34 trying to make a move on the 53 down here. I would almost not want to drive it in too deep to protect from the switchback. You see under the bridge now, and I think that is done and dusted.
Textbook, yeah.
Yeah, excellent entry there from Logan Smith to hold on to that position, or gain that position, excuse me. And there it is, the top 10 for Logan Smith. So 2 Auburn drivers in the top 10 now. Logan up into 10th, trying to chase down Sewage for 9th.
Yeah, and we just saw Bowman get by Main as well. Now we're on lap 30. It gives us about 18 to 20 laps remaining. It's a race between Hanley and Bowman at this point. Burns will play a part as well.
Well, I wouldn't count out Burns at this point, because look at, as much as Bowman's on his march forward, he still has been stuck at 7.3 behind Pierce for pretty much this entire stint. So I think that we might need to see the Ferrari do something a little bit different on pit strategy. If he's going to make his way back forward. Is Logan now trying to make a move up in towards Cunningham. You see him on the outside. It's so hard to make the move there, although maybe a switchback, get a good run through Collier, set him up into Tower. That's what he's thinking. He's looking to the outside through Collier. Side by side, there's Tough. It's tight. You see good block off from Sewick. He's going to go back to the inside through Tower. Logan trying to close again, almost into the back of the Aston. The Aston's so much slower through Tower right now as Logan trying to close in as we head through Bishop. Now back towards this complex. Are we going to see another move into Sunset from Logan Smith today? It feels like he's made a bit of a living off of it. Trying to set up the Aston of Sewick right now. You see the wider entry. Going to cut back in front of McKeon. Almost run over the Aston. He's so much faster in the middle of the corner and the exit right now than that Aston of Sewick. There is another BMW in front of these guys. That is not a lead lap driver, so not for position, but could get in the way here. You see McKeon looking to the inside. Now Smith going to have to cover. Logan still in this middle line of Sunset that he's been so good at, trying to pick up the exit. A little bit wide for the Aston. Does that give Logan an opportunity down the front stretch? Going to tuck into the slipstream, trying to get a run down towards turn number 1 right now. To the inside, going to come back to the outside, and we stay in this order. Sewick, Smith, McKeon as we head back to the heart of the lap.
Yeah, Smith's doing what we call show-me driving right now. He keeps sticking his nose in, as you see right there. But he's not really trying to make a move there. He's just showing him like, hey, I'm here. I'm on your bumper lap after lap. I'm coming. I'm going to make a move as soon as I get a prime opportunity.
Big loose from Sewick. Oversteer moment out of the corner. You saw the snap. Here comes Logan Smith through Gurney Bend, heading down towards the hairpin. He's going to be on the outside. We'll see maybe a move from McKeon on Sewick as well. They're going to be side by side. McKeon really diving it in there deep. They're all going to stay clean. Logan up to 9th, McKeon 10th, Sewick back down to 11th as BMWs get by the Aston here as we head towards Cunningham. And now Logan going to be on the defense this time. McKeon, I think, has a great run here. Looking to the inside, going to make Logan defend in the middle. Oh, there's collision. Collision, there was a contact back there with McKeon and Sewick, but they both kept it straight. That was extremely good recovery from both of them as McKeon overshot it a little bit side by side with the shallow entry, but that is helping out Logan Smith in a big way. Logan now out to 6/10 in front of McKeon, 7/10 now, trying to build this gap in this 9th position, 7.1 seconds behind Zachary White in 8th.
Yeah, it's almost very, very, very similar to how we saw Hanley get around Burns earlier. Just kind of stay on his bumper, show him you're there, keep showing him you're there, show him your nose without the intent of making a move, and then allow him to make their own mistake and then get around them. So it's very, very stalkerish, very, as you mentioned earlier, Jaws-esque from these Auburn drivers today getting around these guys.
Well, Keegan, I know this is a fun fact that you'll like. Logan, his favorite NASCAR driver, Chase Elliott. You remember back in the days of the Gen 6 car, best NASCAR driver on road courses before SVG took over the sport, it was Chase Elliott. So a little bit of 9-car magic in that 34 BMW today, driving back up to the field in position number 9 right now.
Nice spot, yeah.
It just works out, doesn't it? But I think that what you talk about, that kind of show me driving style, you know what someone's not doing when they're thinking about where your car is? Driving.
Exactly.
And you see now GTP of Jake Cummings behind that side-by-side battle of McKeon and Suick. Let's take a look at Cummings, see how he manages to get through this. Let's go on board with the GTP of Jake Cummings in the 95, see how it looks to work through in a GTP through traffic. You see flying right around the outside right here, and look at the closing speed up to Logan in this GTP. You see the speed difference is so pronounced into the hairpin as we can now jump back to Logan, watching the GTP drive away. And the thing I do want to take note of here is look who's in front of Logan Smith. It's Evan Main. Something's happened to the McLaren. I don't know if he made a second pit stop. Let's see if we can get a look at the lap counter here. I believe that says a lap 32 pit stop for Evan Main. Yeah, so the McLaren into the pits for the second time today. First GT3 driver to make his second pit stop, and you see that's put him back into a little bit of traffic, but it's just a GTP in front of him. So if he can push forward, I'd expect that's not a tire change based on what we've heard. But now, as we get towards the final half hour of this race, final stop.
Yeah, and to emphasize what we've been talking about all day with this defensive driving, most people watching probably haven't driven a race car, but in this aspect, they're very similar to the cars you've driven in real life. And
as
Logan Smith makes a move on Evan Main.
Speaking of driving race cars, Logan looking to do something down into Sunset again. It's been in one of his happy places on this track today. And don't forget, cold tires on Evan Main right now, and that McLaren just coming out of the pits. So I would not be surprised to see Logan get through and then maybe have to give that place back up as Main's tires not cold tires, just heat cycle tires with the no tire change. But still, it's always difficult to get them fired back up because they do cool down as you go down the pits. They lose temperature, not in the optimum working window. So that is Logan through on Evan Main. Main coming back. Whoa, tight move, little bit of contact. They're going to stay side by side. That is the second time Main has bumped into an Auburn driver today. First with Hanley near the front, as Logan's going to stay wide at back corner to set himself up for that next right now into the left, trying to cut back in and staying out in front of the McLaren. But goodness, that was some tight racing through turn number 1.
He took a lunge, and I just don't think Logan Smith expected it. You can tell he didn't really steer away from it. He kind of just like, oh, there he is. But I mean, what a lunge from Main. But Logan Smith able to hold on to the position. Smith has just been really good at just rolling through the middle of the corners and just holding his line in the corner. He hasn't gone too wide or cut himself too short in corners. He's just very good at just running his preferred line.
Yeah, he's a very smooth driver, is Logan Smith. And you notice it as well if you've watched our CIL Cup broadcasts on Monday nights. Logan's had a little bit of bad luck in some recent races, getting taken out a couple times, but has had some great runs, has won a race in the CIL Cup Series, won it at Charlotte. And I think that's where a lot of people talk about the big differences between oval racing and road course racing. I think one thing that does help coming from doing more oval racing is the knowledge of momentum in a car, because that's so key on oval racing. And even though you use it very differently in a GT3 car on a road course compared to a NASCAR or a Cup car on an oval, it's that knowledge of, okay, how do I keep the speed up, and how do I make sure my minimum speed is as little as possible, drive it smooth, keep clean lines. And I think that is something that's helping Logan.
Yeah, what that allows you to do as well is take your tires. You get a better feel for the load you're putting on either the right front, right rear, left rear, whichever tire. You get a better feel for just how far you're pushing that tire. You can save tires better, which in these timed endurance races is crucial.
Absolutely is. Here comes Logan into the pits. Second stop of the day for the BMW down into Sebring Pit Road here. And this is the part of the track where you can really tell it used to be an airport, Keegan. Mm-hmm. It's much like Silverstone, although Silverstone a lot smoother, but two tracks that used to be airfields before they became world famous motorsport venues. We'll see how much fuel Logan takes in this BMW, getting ready to get sent back out. I do not believe we saw the air jacks go, Keegan, so no tires, as we expected. We'll see as he gets released here. Oh, the air jacks did go.
So he is grabbing tires.
Do we get a tire change here on the Logan Smith mobile? We'll take a look at the lap times as he comes out of the pit, see if we can get an idea for what kind of tires he's running. Again, either way, it's going to be cooler tires or cold tires if they're brand new the second time through for Logan. We'll follow along with him as he comes out for the out lap. As you see, McKeon still back there behind him, so he's built up a solid gap to the cars he got by on track. And now it's just a matter of taking care of these tires, really bringing them into their working window.
Yeah, we came in, we talked about kind of the one tire stop strategy. But if these guys are taking tires on both stops, maybe the tire wear was just more than these engineers anticipated, and that certainly could be a factor here.
Well, based on the way he's weaving it, looks like new tires on this 34 machine of Logan Smith, trying to put some heat back into him on cold tires, as that corner's so awkward on cold tires. I experienced that in my test session as well, except because I'm not a CIL caliber driver, Keegan, instead I spun it into the wall. But Logan going through Cunningham right now, GTP right behind him as you see McKeon closing in. McKeon going for a move on the inside of Logan, going to try to make that work through Collier, and I believe McKeon is going to be through. So good opportunistic move from the Canadian there on Logan Smith, and you got to think that is also at least partially warm tires versus cold tires.
Yeah, and I mean, last pit cycle we saw the undercut work almost, way better than staying out longer. So if you're a guy like Pierce, Burns, or Bowman, what do you do this time? Are you going to use the undercut? I think so.
I know I definitely would. I'm a big short pit guy, Keegan, in my race strategy. I'd love to be the first guy down to pit road, first guy with the new tires. But James Bowman is now 6.2 back of the lead right now in that Ferrari. Pierce has a 2.4 second lead over Connor Burns. You see him going to lap his fellow Aston Martin, flashing the headlights like crazy. The universal sign for "get out of my way." And the Aston in front is appearing to ignore the blue flags, which is an interesting strategy. I would recommend that personally. That's usually how you get referred or reported. But there he goes out of the way in sunset as Pierce stays in the lead. You see Burns in that Lamborghini in the back of the frame. And there around the back corner, you just saw the very back of your frame, James Bowman. He's the last car on your screen right now. So your entire podium all back in frame in one shot down the front stretch here at Sebring with 27 minutes to go. I don't think Bowman has quite enough time to get there, but it would be quite the recovery drive if he did.
Well, there's about 13 laps left, so I mean the pit cycle is obviously going to affect this top three battle a lot. And if you're a guy like Bowman, where you had the speed, you had the pace, but you kind of spun yourself out, do you not take tires? You just come get gas and get the track position, and just hope you can hold on to the tires you have.
Well, I know Pierce really seemed like he did not want to take tires on the second stop. We'll see if he maybe goes a different way than Logan Smith when he comes down to pit. We'll have to keep an eye on that for sure whenever this Aston comes in. But I'm excited to see what all three of these top three do, Keegan, because I think we're going to see different ideas on whether it's better to have the fresher tires, which really helps you through this portion of the track as well. Just putting the power down earlier, especially through Collier. It's so easy to spin your rear. New tires are a bit of a cure-all, so is it worth the extra time in the pits? Because we saw him do it on the first stop, but we're not quite sure if we're going to see it the second time down pit road. But regardless of how many tires have been on that thing today, Pierce Hanley's been quick all day long. You see him out in front now by 2.3 over Connor Burns, just running his own race right now, running his own pace, and doing it extremely consistently.
Yeah, and tires or not, I'd expect all three of these guys to come in within the next 3 laps to either get new fresh tires or just get fuel and get back on track as quick as possible. But it's definitely going to shake it up. And I mean, I think as far as strategy-wise, I think Bowman could be the biggest winner, throwing a monkey wrench out there and shaking up the strategy a little bit.
I mean, he's got 9 seconds back to Andrew Voigt and 4th behind him, so I wouldn't hate the tire shout to see the Mustang coming out of the pits right there. And there's Logan Pierce coming to lap his teammate right here. You got to imagine Logan will get out of the way for the Aston once Pierce gets caught up, but lapping the GT3 field right now. Let's take a look at Logan right now, because he's in a bit of a battle with McKeon and Kovac right now. You see all three of them together. Kovac on the inside, McKeon on the outside. Logan, where does he go? He stays outside. They're going to be side by side in front of him. Oh, goodness, that's close. I thought the corner makes me think they're going side by side every time through there, Keegan. Then they straighten it out as here comes Logan on the outside of Kovac right in front of him as we head towards Cunningham. Good braking zone from the 34. Those are those new tires helping, I think, is getting by Kovac right there. And now he's going to be on the back bumper of McKeon. He has a run up toward Tower. What is he going to do with it? He's going to have to stay to the outside. Do we see the cut in? Try to get that line out. Is not quite able to. Going to stay on the outside line and stay right behind David McKeon right now as they head down towards the final portion of the lap through Bishop. Such a fun corner. And then this ending complex, GTP right behind him. So got to be cognizant of that. Stay out of the way. There goes the GTP. Oh, McKeon had to second guess it. That's going to check up Logan. They're going to be right on each other, headed down towards Sunset.
And Mike, I feel like we've seen this exact situation tonight.
We have before with Logan Smith on McKeon as well, going down into Sunset. What does he do? He's going to go to the inside. Pierce Hanley watching it happen, coming to lap these two as Logan's going to stay on the inside. He's going to get the move done. Did he get on the power too early? Does he have to lift? I think he did just a bit, as now they're side by side in front of the leader, Pierce Hanley. Oh my goodness, someone on the Auburn social team, get a picture of this one as Logan Smith going to be diving to the inside through on David McKeon. So Logan back up into the top 10 with his teammate and leader, Pierce Hanley, going through on the inside right now. Logan going to let him by cleanly. There goes Pierce. Logan's going to hold on to 10th. And we settle back into the flow of this one, Keegan, with Hanley still holding on to a 3-second lead.
Yeah, but don't cut that Porsche out. I mean, it's on fresh tires, and it was passed earlier, but it's gotten by quick back to these guys. I mean, you just look at the closing speed right there, and the braking just outbroke them a little bit.
Yeah.
Able to get it right on McKeon into the corner. We'll have a better exit through this little switchback section.
Kovac's trying to close back up to him. You mentioned the fresh tires. It is such a big difference once you get them warmed up. Once you get those tires warmed up, you feel just about invincible on them. As Logan going to stay to the outside, cut back to the inside, try to stay in front as we'll see what kind of defense McKeon can put on Kovac right behind him. As Kovac went wide, he almost spun out. He almost did a James Bowman right back there as we saw the Ferrari lose it at that point earlier today. But speaking of the Ferrari, 4.4 seconds now behind the leader, Pierce Hanley, is James Bowman. Let's take a look at the Ferrari of Bowman. You see just 1.2 seconds behind Burns. He can see Connor Burns right now, can James Bowman. That Ferrari is flying right now with 21 minutes to go, Keegan.
Yeah, I mean, just an impressive drive through the field here. I mean, these guys are just, I mean, the credit to him just to stay calm and not let the pressure get to him when spinning out earlier. Just able to methodically work his way back up to the front of this pack.
Look at the run. The run he has down towards Sunset on all these guys. You see Kovac getting out of the way, obeying the blue flags as Bowman through Sunset, going to try to get a run on Burns. You doubt you're going to see anything in the turn one. Ooh, he's going into the pits. James Bowman in the pits. Let's stay with him. Let's see what the stop looks like for James Bowman. We'll wait to see if the air jacks go up. Does the Ferrari get tires? Let's ride on board with him again down this pit straight, heading towards his pit box and coming to a stop. Let's take a look.
I don't think we're going to see tires. I think we've seen a splash and go.
It looks pretty quick. I don't know that I saw the air jacks go. Let's take a look off board at Bowman.
That's a splash and go.
That splash and go. Fuel only for the Ferrari of James Bowman, I believe, as we'll see what kind of pace he has out of the pits. Well, that's what we heard before the race, is your top guys probably were not going to take tires the second time down. It does look to be what's happened right now, as Pierce once again still hanging out in front, has a pretty solid lead. 4.5 seconds. It's been higher at some points today, but right now, with Burns stuck in traffic and Pierce the clean track, I would expect this number to continue to grow as he looks very comfortable in that Aston right now, Keegan.
So, James Bowman, 25.3 seconds on pit road. We'll see when Pierce Hanley comes down how long he's on pit road and if he decides to take tires or just gas.
We'll see if Logan can do a little bit to help out Pierce, because obviously you're going to have Bowman coming back through. Bowman's going to have to pass that BMW because Logan has already pitted. So there's no more pit stops left for that 34. Keegan, I don't know if you remember the famous Sergio Perez defense at Abu Dhabi for Max Verstappen, but see if Logan can maybe do a little bit of that for Pierce and the hard-charging Ferrari. Let's take a look. Does Pierce hit pit road this time? No. Aston stays out. He continues to run long, although it obviously does not hurt you as bad if there's not as big of an undercut because the guy behind you didn't take tires. So it doesn't affect you as much, and then you can spend less time on pit road because you only need the fuel for however many laps you have left. So I like this strategy of running longer, trying to minimize your pit road time, but let's take a look at where Bowman is after getting off pit road. Is he in traffic right now?
Burns is currently on pit road as well.
Yeah, we'll see Burns drop back. So let's ride with Bowman and see where he comes out in relation to Connor Burns as he heads through Sunset right now on those fresh tires, or excuse me, not the fresh tires. Forza had it right there off pit, but Connor Burns still in the pits. And now out of the pits, you see that pit board go away. There's the Lamborghini of Connor Burns coming through turn 1. Where's James Bowman? About 2.4 seconds is the difference between Burns and Bowman right now. So I would expect that was no tires for Burns as well. It would have to be for that gap to be about the same as what it was. So we'll see on pure pace with these two now. I'll keep an eye on the leaderboard so we know when Pierce pits, but for now, let's keep it with these two guys because this is the potential battle for second today. And Burns currently 24 seconds, now 23, you imagine high 23 seconds behind Pierce back here in third. Andrew Voigt is hanging out in second right now. Voigt has not made his second pit stop yet, so that Penn State Porsche still has to come down pit road one more time today.
Yeah, and at this point, I would expect Pierce Hanley just to do a splash to go. That's what he was adamant about before the race started. And at this point, with the two guys you're racing, just doing splash and goes, I would expect no tires from him at this point. I mean, especially when you come out of the pits, depending on when he comes. If he comes this lap, you're coming back out with around 8 laps to go.
Yeah, surely you don't take tires, you would imagine.
It's like he's going to come.
Here he comes, yep. Let's follow him down pit road. Once he gets to the box, we'll take a look at that off-board shot again to see if the air jacks go up on this Aston. But as you mentioned, Keegan, I would expect that those air jacks stay right in the ground. 17 minutes to go now here in the 100 minutes of Sebring. Let's take a look at it. No air jacks, just fuel for the number 33. We'll take a look at the gap. We'll monitor the gap. Voigt on pit road as well. So your final two GT3s both in the pits right now, as you see Voigt coming to a stop in his box. Here comes Hanley off of pit road. Burns is through Sunset right now.
Ooh, he's gonna be tired than I thought.
I think he's gonna be okay as he comes through. Yeah, that's not Burns right behind him, I don't believe. No, that is a Mustang and then a GTP of Crump right behind him. So he's got a little bit of space, 3.8 seconds to work with. Let's take a look at this battle. James Bowman's there, Keegan. He is caught back up to Connor Burns. So far this season in CIL Sports Cars, it's been who's faster than Connor Burns. Well, there's two of them today. It's Pierce Hanley and James Bowman. It does not look like Burns will win his 4th consecutive event today as the Ferrari looking for a move on the Lamborghini. Classic Italian sports rivalry here. Bowman to the outside, looking for the switchback. Gonna cut back, gonna get the exit. We've seen that all day though. You have to check up when the car in front comes back onto the line. Now through Fangio, heading towards Cunningham. Do we see the move from Bowman? He's gonna keep it to the outside, defensive from Burns in front. Late apex from Bowman, cut back inside, he's gone. Yep. James Bowman just absolutely cooked Connor Burns right there in Cunningham corner, and Bowman is off and running. So now, the number to keep an eye on, 4.2 is
7 laps to go.
7 laps to go, 4.2 seconds. It would take a Herculean effort from James Bowman to get it done, but he's been the fastest car today here at the 100 minutes of Florida at Sebring. We'll see if he has enough in the locker to catch up to Pierce Hanley as the race goes on. Checking back in with Logan. Logan's down in 10th right now, still hanging on to his top 10 spot. 5.6 back of Matthew Monroe, who he was ahead of earlier today. So a little bit of lost time in all the battling, but still top 10 in your only CIL sports car race of the year. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. Kind of came on here just to run some practice after this weekend and ended up turning it into a top 10 performance. So we'd expect him to, keep performing at this level and have some fun this weekend as well.
Yeah, you mentioned this weekend, 24 hours here at Sebring on Saturday. It is a special event, 7 a.m. the start for that. It's going to be extremely exciting, but Logan is driving that later this weekend. Pierce is also driving that, so your two Auburn drivers still running in this race will be in that, as well as Zachary White down to pit road. Final GT3 to pit, I think, actually this time. Back up to the front with Pierce Hanley, 4.1 now the lead, so hanging right about the same. You see Bowman in the back of your frame right there. That's the Ferrari. But it is, I think, it's always a bit of a boost if you're the car in second to see that car in first in front of you. As you see now, 3.8 the gap. So Hanley going to have to stay consistent on his line, keep hitting his marks. 13 and a half minutes to go now. 3.9 still, so trying to keep it around that 4-second mark, but you just got to be clean right now. And as these tires get older, that gets more difficult. But you see the red sectors, Bowman is closing.
Well, and the name of the game with these Auburn drivers all day, and Pierce really all season, has just been his patience and his kind of just consistency. Well, now's the time to amplify that. You don't want to be like, oh, we're coming down 10 minutes to go, 13 minutes to go, I got to crunch, I got to eke out a gap. No, you've got the gap, stay consistent, run your track, run your lines, don't push too hard and force yourself into a mistake, which I don't think Pierce will do. He's very good, one of the top guys in this league at just being consistent, being calm, and being patient.
Yeah, definitely cool, calm, and collected. The director of Auburn iRacing right now, by the way, the student leader of the organization. So if there's anyone on the team you trust in this moment, it is Pierce Hanley. Very, very strong driver for this team. Did a ton of driving at Bathurst a few weeks ago in another special event. Looking to do it on Saturday again as well. And every time you talk to him, Keegan, he talks about how much he loves this Aston Martin. He's stuck in the Mercedes on Saturday, but you can tell today he really loves this car. He knows exactly where to put it, what to do with it, and he's been extremely strong. Gap is stabilized now at about 4 seconds. What is not stabilized is the lead that Jake Cummings is putting on this GTP field. He's now 21 seconds out front for the first college driver in that Cadillac. We mentioned pre-race, Cummings just wanted a clean race today after a couple incidents. Obviously, he was caught up in the incident too with the lap cars at Barcelona. This guy has not been able to catch a break recently, partly to his own doing, especially in the Cup Series, but today it has been smooth sailing for that purple number 95 Cadillac.
Yeah, I mean, just putting on a clinic today, and I mean, this lead for him really helps out Pierce Hanley in the GT3 class, because now, instead of having these GTP cars in a tight battle that you're trying to navigate around, well, it's just Jake Cummings comes by, and then 3 minutes later, another GTP car comes by.
Exactly. There's really only one GTP battle right now. It's in the hairpin. You can see the two yellow dots on your screen together as Hanley again flashing the headlights, the get out of my way button on the dash. It's Cade Corbin in front of him now as Hanley through this nice section here. This right-hander swing back out wide. It's so fun to watch, isn't it, Keegan? This nice exit. Blue flags, you got to think Corbin's out of the way. There we go. There goes Corbin, as I think Hanley was about ready to break the headlight button off the front of this Aston Martin if he keeps having to press it anymore with some of these blue flags. But making his way through, you'd love to catch a guy in the straightaway and just go through cleanly. And you see he's about splitting the sector times with James Bowman right now. You see half red, maybe half green, depending on if this last.
But at this point, you're happy with splitting. Like, that's fine. Yeah.
Bowman can't catch you by splitting every lap. He needs to take, let's see, 10 minutes to go here at Sebring, about 2-minute laps. He needs to take almost a second out of you per lap at this point to really feel good about trying to catch. And then obviously catching is one thing and passing is another. So Pierce looking solid up in the lead right now. Let's get back to Logan. Logan's caught Matthew Monroe only 2 seconds behind this other BMW. And remember, just a few minutes ago, that said 4.5 on the gap. And Keegan, I bet what happened here is I don't think Matthew Monroe took tires on his second stop. That's how he got that 4.5 seconds. And then you've seen Logan run him back down quickly after this pit stop, because we know that number 34 got a fresh set of tires in the pits.
Yeah, and if it's not tires, Monroe must have had a moment off.
There's a moment to the left side, doing what you don't want to do.
Well, sometimes both can be true. Sometimes you cannot take tires and have a moment, and I think that's what we saw right there.
Yeah, let's watch it from the onboard of Logan Smith. That was a great view the first time. Let's look at it again from the onboard of the number 34. You see, he takes the right-hander, then Monroe takes the left-hander, and then he turns left into the right-hander, which is not usually what you want to do. Just a little bit too eager on the curb, too eager on power, and Logan, how about a free 9th place for the Chase Elliott fan? Back up into his number 9 spot here today. You got to think, barring a miracle, that's as high as he can get today with a 28-second gap to Zachary White in front.
Yeah, I would think so, but definitely a performance that he should be happy about, and can pat himself on the back when he gets done with this race. I mean, top 10 in your first. I mean, these guys have been doing this for weeks at this point. We're well into the season, and he just comes in, sits down, and goes, "All right, let's play." And now he's in 9th. So
yeah, 4th race of the season here in CIL Sports Cars, and Logan looking like he's been here for all 4. Very solid run for the driver, the number 34 BMW. Again, just to update you, if you haven't caught up for this entire race, we are missing one Auburn driver, the number 91 of Nathan Roth. We believe had an incident earlier in the race that we weren't quite able to catch. So that number 91 Corvette is unfortunately out, but Pierce Hanley looking to rectify the loss of one car with a win on the day in class in GT3. Has 8 minutes to go now, but he's stabilized this lead and now he's grown it. It's up to 5 seconds. I think we might have seen the push from James Bowman. I think he might have done a little bit too much with those tires, maybe worn him past the cliff, and now 4.7 the gap. Pierce Hanley just trying to stay consistent out front, which, as we mentioned, he's so good at doing.
yeah, both Hanley and Bowman only taking fuel their last stops, and so these tires are getting older, and Bowman had to make up a lot of room after spinning himself out early in the race, so probably had to work those tires extra hard just to climb back through the field, which he did, but that cost him life in those tires, and I think you're seeing that now with this gap just fall back further from him.
Absolutely, as he is still holding on out front, and the pit strategy too today has been great. We mentioned that you were going to take tires your first time. We saw that, and then again, that idea to run long for Pierce Hanley, stay out longer than anyone else and take on less fuel, got him back out, probably got him an extra couple seconds out in front with less time fueling in the pits. And again, for the second race in a row, this Auburn engineering group has done a great job as Cade Corbin trying to get out of the way. Bowman back to the outside. You got to think he's not going to be happy about that one because the gap is back up to 5 more seconds. But yeah, good job from the engineers again today. The race engineers getting Hanley not only some clear space, but a couple extra seconds with the strategy to run long.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, they almost have this thing down to a T and a science, and you saw that. But I mean, even like guys back, I think starting in 7th, I think Zachary White maybe was one of the highest cars to take tires on the second stop. But I mean, if you're that far back, you've got to do it. You've got to come back, get some tires, and see what kind of pace you can get later in this race. We saw it work out for Logan Smith now in the top 10. He got tires, was able to get past Monroe, and just some other guys. So
Yeah.
I mean, split strategy, but I mean, if you're the leader, you can't afford to gamble like that and take tires.
No, and you don't need to because the lead was pretty comfortable. It's now still chilling about 5 seconds. Let's take a look at the number 9 car in GT3 right now. It's Andrew Gross in a BMW who is closed up to the back of the Mustang of Caleb Larson. This is your closest battle on track right now, so see if we can give you guys a little bit of side-by-side action as we wind down before we really start wrapping this thing to a close. But this battle has been pretty close for a few laps now, or a few minutes, excuse me, as Gross trying to get through on Larson, who is the highest running Mustang today. One cool thing about this GT3 race today, Keegan, is your top 8 cars are all driving different manufacturers.
Yeah, well, I thought you were about to say one cool thing is that that Mustang looks like a zebra. Or BMW.
Well, that's the BMW.
The BMW looks like a zebra.
It does look like a zebra, which, maybe you're in the livery booth. You think, what animal do I want on the car? Zebra's a good option. as this Texas A&M.
There's a wolf on the other side. It's half wolf.
Well, it's the dog, the Texas A&M mascot. I think it's pronounced Revel, maybe.
Yes.
Reveille.
So half Reveille, half zebra.
Classic livery design there.
So if you were in the paint booth, what animal would you choose to put on a race car? Besides cheetah, obviously being the fastest.
I mean, does this count as an animal if you do like the shark mouth from like World War II type
No,
planes?
that's overdone. That's overdone. You got these.
But it's cool then. It's overdone because it's cool. Okay, if I was going with anything, I think actually like the pattern. Have you ever seen a whale shark before? Like the kind of blue, the white. I think that'd be a cool.
I was going to say something like sea turtle, like the turquoise, like the shell, like sea turtle.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're near the ocean here at Sebring, so maybe ocean on the brain with the two sea creatures here is. Let's jump back up and look at Pierce again, leading this thing 4.5 seconds out front. I feel like every time we jump to him, he's going under that bridge through Gurney Bend right now. Is Lapper in front of him, waiting to see the headlights you've seen all day. But now, so Porsche gets out of the way. Kovac getting out of the way there of Pierce Hanley. He just continues working his way through. And Keegan, we saw him run second for a lot of this RW part. Obviously, the James Bowman wreck ended up giving him the lead, but even if you're given the lead, you have to keep it. And Pierce has done an excellent job of that, then had to retake it. He's been so solid today, all day long, just completely reliable up here.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth action between him and Connor Burns earlier. A lot of opportunities for them to make mistakes, but credit to Pierce Hanley. I don't think even in those battles we saw him make a mistake. Was just very collected behind the wheel and was smart and patient and just kind of picked apart Connor Burns a little bit, forced Connor Burns into making mistakes. And then Bowman trying to push a little bit too hard on fresh tires and cold tires, and we saw him spit himself out and allow Pierce to go right by him.
Yeah, we've seen Burns all season be the guy that everyone doesn't really have an answer for. But today, two people have, we mentioned it before, Hanley and Bowman have both been much faster than the Lamborghini of Connor Burns, who now sits 6.3 behind Bowman and 11.4 seconds behind Pierce Hanley at the moment. But Bowman's got it back down to 4.6, but you got to think part of that is just Pierce not pushing too hard. There's 2.5 minutes left. At this point, you're looking at 2 laps to go, probably. So just keeping the thing clean right now, I think, is the main priority.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to have to check his steering when he gets done, because that headlight button's going to be, the paint's going to be one slap off of that thing. I mean, we've seen these GTP cars, flash their lights a little bit, but he's like giving them a whole rave show behind the wheel, just like a Taylor Swift concert.
Well, if I was as consistent and as quick as he's been today, I would want everyone out of my way too. So I think it's pretty understandable, and you see that in real life too with GT3s. I was watching some Nürburgring racing the other day, Keegan, and you would think down the Dottinger at the Nürburgring, it looks like a Christmas light show out there once they get into night racing, but extremely entertaining as always. Minute 43 to go here at Sebring. And Pierce Hanley has been solid all day long. You see the overall leader just a couple corners behind him, Jake Cummings. You saw him in the back of your shot there for just a moment. So I believe we're on the penultimate lap right now, coming to the white flag. I believe that is correct.
Should be. Yeah, I think we're coming to the white flag this time. Still about half the lap for this GTP car of Jake Cummings to get through to the line. So a little spread out.
Connor Burns has gone right back up to Bowman. Let's check him out. See this battle between Connor Burns and Bowman, and he can grab the second place. Let's see.
Well, Bowman's 8.4 in front. It's not just a little bit difficult to tell sometimes, but that is 8.4. So back up to Pierce in front. 51 seconds to go. So yeah, I would expect coming to the white flag through sunset right now, as he's got the overall leader right around him too, as Jake Cummings has just gone by. So coming to the white, you would expect here for Pierce Hanley. 1 to go here at Sebring. After 100 minutes, he's been solid all day, just doing his own thing, and it looks like it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Pierce and Logan both, just this Auburn team as a whole today. I think they came in today with a plan, and they executed on that plan. You saw no wavering, no signs of weakness, no signs of overzealousness, just very structured in how they drove today.
Yeah, it's been very strong. all day long. Let's jump up and take a look at Jake Cummings, the leader in the GTP field, coming to the finish of this one. You see him heading down towards the hairpin right now as time is expired, so this will be your last lap officially here in the 100 minutes of Florida today, and it's been all Jake Cummings in GTP, 23 seconds out front right now. He has been killer today, but Pierce Hanley has also been killer for Auburn today, leading this GT3 field for what ended up being a lot of the day after the James Bowman spin. Logan Smith looks like he's going to come home ninth, all alone pretty much. Has a couple seconds around him on either side, but Pierce Hanley, it was his first race in CIL Sportscar's last time out at Barcelona and brought home a podium in his first race of the season in the series. Did the Bathurst special event. That didn't quite finish how he wanted. He's got another special event on Saturday, but right now, in his first race at Sebring this week, in the car he loves the most, this Aston Martin, he has just been on point. I think the only thing that's gone wrong for him today, Keegan, as you mentioned, is the words rubbing off of his headlights button. As he heads down the backstretch right now, coming towards sunset, Jake Cummings is going to win this one. He's heading toward the start-finish line right now, but we're going to keep it here with Hanley heading towards sunset. All season long, it's been who can stop Connor Burns? Can anyone beat Connor Burns? Well, today, someone can. It's an Auburn Tiger. The veil of dominance has been pierced. Hanley wins at Sebring. The 100 minutes of Florida goes to Auburn's Pierce Hanley and the number 33, Aston Martin. Auburn wins here at Sebring. Keegan, I'm so glad we got to call a win for one of these Auburn drivers because every event, they've been so quick. And I'm happy to see one of them deliver and it finally go the correct way, the right way, as Pierce manages to come home and take that one. As Logan now finishing off his lap, coming through the middle of the circuit right now into Cunningham, around Cunningham. He's been solid all day long. Just said he wanted to come out and get some confidence built up, get some more reps before the weekend at Sebring in the 12 hours. Well, he's been extremely solid all day long, running ninth. He's made passes, fell back down to 17th off the restart, but has worked his way all the way back up into the position of his favorite driver, Chase Elliott. Logan Smith running P9 right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned how excited you were to call an Auburn win. Well, that's Pierce Hanley's second start in the CIL League. So, I mean, there's a good chance that we may be calling a few wins. And these Auburn boys, with Logan Smith making his first appearance and making a top 10, I mean, they're looking to make a splash in the CIL League. So, some fun stuff up the tube for Auburn in iRacing.
Yeah, and I think this bodes well for Saturday as well because, you know, you'll have Pierce in the Mercedes for Auburn in that race. But bringing Logan home here around sunset goes to number 34. As we've mentioned multiple times today, his first race of the season, he's going to finish it in the top 10. A solid day for the driver, the number 34, Logan Smith, going to come home in ninth today at Sebring.
Yeah, incredible drive from these guys. Incredible drive from everybody. Really clean race. We saw a few spins, a few moments off track, but overall, a really clean race today.
Absolutely. Well,
especially at a grueling track like Sebring, which you'd expect a lot more moments, but just incredible driving from these collegiate racers.
I'll tell you what I want to do right now, Keegan, is talk to Pierce Hanley. We'll see if we can pull him in here. Hey, Pierce, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
How about that win, man?
I know, right?
Connor Burns this season got it done. Very solid all day long. You looked just completely confident out there today. How did it feel?
Oh, it felt so good. It's like a full circle moment, honestly, because my first race with Auburn was at Sebring. So,
well, I know that picking up the win has to boost the confidence and the momentum going into this weekend. So, how do you feel? I know it's a different car. You're in the Mercedes instead this weekend, but how do you think the win helps you heading into the 12 hours this weekend?
It'll help a lot. Honestly, I like the Mercedes more than the Aston. The Aston is not my favorite car around there, but it felt pretty good today. I was just managing tires and managing our strategy, and it worked out.
Well, can you talk a little bit about the strategy? We noticed you stayed out a little bit longer than the rest of the guys, took a little bit less fuel you had to than the other guys, and that ended up helping you out as well. It feels like the strategy team for you has really been on point the last couple races, helping you out.
Yeah, it definitely worked out. We knew we'd have to stop twice. I knew that the last would be kind of a splash and go or 10 laps, 9 laps. So we decided to take tires the first stop and just run the extra 10 laps on the tires to the end because they would go around 30 on a normal stint anyways. So yeah, the strategy worked out really good. I was just a little better on my fuel usage than Connor and James were, so it ended up working out perfectly for me.
Yeah, and Pierce, I want to ask about your teammate Logan Smith making his first start in the CIL this year. Came home with a P9 after falling back to 17th a little bit. Worked his way back up to the field. We saw him make moves and be consistent all day long. Speak about just his performance.
Yeah, he did a great job. I had my head down for most of the race, and then when I came up on him with like 15, 20 minutes to go, he was in a little battle for, I think, 11th or 10th, and he was driving really great. He ended up getting past at least one or two of them before he let me by, but yeah, he did a great job. I'm really excited to see him this weekend and all the other guys running the Beamer.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to the 12 hours. Thanks for talking to us today, Pierce. Congratulations again on the win. War Eagle, man.
War Eagle, man, thank you.
All right. We're going to pull in Logan now as well. Talk to him after the top 10. Hey, Logan, you got us? Maybe. All right. Well, hey, Logan, you there?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Logan. So you mentioned you wanted to get a little bit more practice for this weekend at Sebring. Well, solid top 10. I know you dropped down a little bit at the start there, but it seemed like from that point you really had your head down. You're able to make some good moves today. Drive back up, finish ninth.
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. I really have no experience in all this at all. So I was just trying to keep all fenders on the car intact and just mind my business and not be in anybody's way that runs here more often. I didn't want to cause any issues in their season standings or anything, but I just really wanted to get some experience and learn how the track races, and especially in traffic, having to be in action, passing people, and try to use your braking markers at the same time and all that stuff instead of just being out there by myself in a test session. So this was really good for Saturday. I feel a lot more confident about Saturday, and I cannot complain with a top 10. I was not expecting a top 10 to say the least.
Well, after tonight's performance, do you have any plans in the future to run some more CIL sports car?
Uh, we'll see. We'll see. I was a little comfortable with this track particularly. I'm not really familiar with all the tracks, but in the future, as maybe I have a little bit more time on my hands, I might I might venture into this realm a little bit more and more. But for now, it'll be the Sebrings and Daytonas, stuff that I'm a little bit more comfortable with for now. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
All right, and final question for you, Logan. Obviously, Pierce taking home the win today. I know you guys are not in the same car this weekend, but how does that just help the momentum and vibes of the team heading forward into the 12 hours on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's great for his confidence and momentum going into this weekend. He's got such a stacked team. They're gonna kill it as long as they stay out of trouble. They're gonna be really solid. So really excited to see what they do. I think we got a pretty good team ourselves. Hopefully, we can just stay intact and just finish the race because it's going to be a long one. And I think for both teams, if we can just make it to the end and stay out of trouble, I think we'll both be in a really good spot on Saturday. So really looking forward to it, and I feel like I'll be able to carry my weight a little bit better than I felt earlier today for sure.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, Logan. I appreciate the time. Congratulations on the top 10. War Eagle, we'll see you back again on Saturday. Good luck in the 12 hours.
Thanks, guys. War Eagle.
All right, well, that is it for the 100 minutes of Florida here at Sebring today. It was just an exciting race, Keegan, all day long. Some great battling at the front of the GT3 field. Logan, you just heard him, comes home to finish ninth. But again, the big story today Auburn iRacing's first win in the CIL Sportscar Series this season. Pierce Hanley gets it done in the number 33 Aston Martin. He'll go for it again on Saturday in the Mercedes in the 12 hours, but until then, for Keegan Miller, I've been Micah Farmer. We'll see you guys again on Saturday for some more Auburn iRacing right here.